number of questions that have been sent to me by all of you on Instagram, and I'm just going to ask them, and Mum and Dad are going to give their honest, emotional replies.
I felt devastated. It was like
a big black hole.
Yeah, the worst news ever.
Like, you know, your lovely little family suddenly had this sort of massive cloud hanging over it, and how were we going to cope?
We'd never heard of it.
We had, but only recently.
Yeah, and that was because of a fundraiser that was going on.
No, it was because I was in an NCT group, and by sheer coincidence, somebody else in the group whose child was the same age as my oldest had been diagnosed with CF.
That's it.
And it was really quite a massive coincidence.
Yeah. So coping with it, that's a difficult one. I mean, Barbara took about 2 years really to get over the news, if I'm honest. It was just dreadful. She wasn't depressed. She wasn't somebody who said, "Oh well, I can't do anything. I can't." She got stuck in. We had to do all the treatment, and we did all the treatment, but she didn't. It
came before everything, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, absolutely.
Just, you know, suddenly, could we go on holiday was a question, wasn't it, in our hearts?
Yeah.
And by really strange coincidence, we were introduced to a lady who had a daughter with CF at the time, 14 years old, and we said, "Well, we're going down to France, and what do you reckon?" And she said, "Well, where are you going?" And we told her. She said, "Oh, I've got a couple of mobile homes there. Of course you can go there. So, you know, we can go on holiday." Don't realise all these hurdles that to anybody else you think, "Oh, just going away with the children is fine," but it's the insurance, it's all the worries, it's what equipment you've got to take. We used to carry needles for drawing up drugs and all that sort of thing.
And rather than think, "Oh gosh, I've got to do this," actually it's more, well, that's what we've got to do. She's our child, we love her to bits, or he's our child, love him to bits, and so we've got to do and take the advice of the doctors, the consultants. They know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about, and that's really the way forward. And take people on who want to come forward and help you. Don't let them necessarily crowd your life, but let them come forward and give you help and support.
When Sophie was younger, to encourage her to take her meds and have her physio, I'll start with the physio first of all. We set up in a bedroom in our house, her physio bed, and we had practically every Disney film there was, which we knew of by heart, and basically she'd have her treatment in there, and we also put all her nebulizer and had a chest of drawers with all her drugs, so everything was in the same place.
It became her physio
room. All the
room,
hospital letters, everything to do with Sophie, so it was called the physio room, and it still is.
And the thing was, I suppose, because we were regimented about her doing her drugs and all the physio she needed to do, it became an accepted way of life for Sophie. There was nothing unusual about it. She just kind of accepted that's what we had to do at a certain time in the morning, a certain time at night.
And she won't mind me saying this, but she had a bottle till she was about 8 years old.
I've forgotten that.
She had Guernsey milk.
Oh yes, she did, yeah.
With sugar in it.
Yeah.
And so she'd have that in the morning, so that we got a good lot of milk down her, and that in the evening as well.
Yeah.
And then we moved on to that with Scandi Shake, which she loved too, 600 calories before you went to bed.
Yeah.
So Sophie and her bottle.
Yeah.
I don't think you're alone, actually. I think Sam had a bottle for quite a long time. A friend of mine's son, he perhaps might not want to, but I won't mention his surname. So
the thing is, I mean, fortunately, and I do think, I say fortunately, Sophie realised that was just part of her life.
Routine.
It was routine. So when she got to her teens, when sometimes you start to question, I don't want to be bothered with this, she actually still did it. She still accepted that they were the things she had to do. But of course physio had to change because she was starting to develop. So we could no longer do the same sort of physio that we needed to do. So she had to do this active cycle breathing, which was really, really good at clearing her chest. But she did it. So I guess it's making sure that this becomes part of a young person's life, and that they accept that this is really what is helping them stay well.
And can I just add that when she started school, we had our friend who was our local cystic fibrosis nurse come to the school and talk to a group of teachers and just about it. And so that when lunchtime came and she'd have to have her crayon, she'd go into the office and the course secretary had been taught, well actually at that time they used to pour it into her mouth, didn't they, before she'd take pills.
Horrible
took
stuff
tablets,
it was.
took the capsules. And that helped a lot. So if the school, your child's school is informed, that our junior school was amazing.
Yeah, they were.
And if she had the slightest cough, we were told straight away, and it was very much encouraged for her to be normal, weren't they?
Yeah, that's true.
Worried.
With regards to the reality of CF and Sophie learning about the devastating prognosis, if you like, I think it was more something that evolved naturally as she went to the hospital, as she realised her friends weren't always regularly. I mean, every 2 months, and then something in between. We'd be toddling up to London, to the Brompton. So it just happened. I don't think we actually sat down and said, right, you've got this illness that blah, 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 you know, you might not live. Probably the realisation of it really hit her when she knew some people who died, and that's when it happened, really.
Yeah, I think it's true, but I think she realised, as you know, when we saw that note on MSN or whatever it was, you know, and she said, well, I'm going to live my life because I'm going to be dead by the time I'm 30. And that's a big message. But, you know, rather than sort of go shock horror, oh my gosh, it's a question really of saying, well, actually, you know, let's not stop her living, let's get her to live, let's sort of push her on. But I have to say it was a bit upsetting at the time.
And the other side, the other way to try and think as a parent is, yes, it's horrendous, it is awful to think your little child, your little baby might not live, but other things can happen. Somebody can go under a bus, so you can't live forever looking into the future thinking they're not going to live.
No, that's very true. Yeah, that is true. Perhaps there's a message to us all in there. But no, Sophie, I think I don't think she's ever ducked the real issues. So maybe we're fortunate in that way. She's always been somebody that's been prepared to embrace the need to look after herself and do the exercising that she needs to do, and look forward to the future positively. Sophie as a daughter is a very interesting person to have around because, you know, when you're feeling a bit, oh, I don't think I can do this, she's bouncing off the walls saying what she's going to be doing next. So it's challenging. It's not without its challenges, let's be honest. It is inspirational. I hear that a lot about our daughter, which is lovely. But she's somebody that sometimes you want to kind of contain her a bit and say, "Oh,
calm down,
exactly." You know, it's you know, just take each day as it comes. She said, "No, I must get on to the next challenge. I must be doing this. I must be doing that." So it can be taxing at times. It can be taxing as a mum and dad. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. But she is great to have around because, as I say, if you're feeling a bit brassed off when you get up one morning, it's what have you got to worry about? Get yourself out, get yourself going. So, inspirational is the right word. Oh, now there's a question. How would we describe Sophie in 3 words?
Positive.
Energetic.
Beautiful.
Back to CF related. How did you deal with Sophie's hospital visits, IVs, being in school with IVs, and coping with others seeing this?
Right, so how did we cope with Sophie having her IVs, explaining to people and taking care? Because she had IVs she's had them a lot. The first lot I can remember when we did them at home was when she was 6 years old, and I can remember being set up at Southend Hospital, and she'd lay there like still, completely still, whereas other kids would have Emla cream put on. She said, no, I don't want it, because she'd heard that the vein disappeared a bit.
That's right.
She said she just learnt that by keeping still, the line would go in, and most of the time it did. So she'd have a long line up round and into her heart. And we'd be set up, we'd come home, we'd have nurses come home, set us up, and then we would learn how to do it ourselves. She went to school, so she just had to be careful at school. We just told them at school. Other children just accept it, don't they, really?
Yeah, that's very true. It was quite amazing that other children sort of seem to sort of, I suppose you get the odd one or two that say, oh, look at her with her funny arm. But actually, in the most part, there was a great feeling of acceptance. But I think also, as Barbara said earlier on, at secondary school it's less of an issue. Primary school it is an issue, because suddenly you've got this child there who's got this funny lump on their arm and they're having to disappear off to have these meds during the day. So, yeah, but actually if you explain it and why they're doing it, most of the children were great and wanted to help if they could in some way.
Right, in regards to whether I would have gone back to work, I was fortunate enough that I didn't go back to work, because Anna was only 2, Sophie was just born, so I had 3 under 5, and we did manage. My father moved in with us as well. It would have been difficult, but I'm sure that people do have to go back to work. I waited until she was older. I'm not sure what the treatment of little ones is now. At that time, with the 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening, it would have been very difficult. Fortunately, Peter was in a job where he was up at 4 in the morning, so
lucky me.
You were home at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and
Yes.
you could take over the treatment while I prepared things like family dinners and everything. So I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination. I firmly believe people with CF have this positivity, this drive, but it could be they have it because they've had to have it. I think being regimented in everything we did probably helped as well. Would you say?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Plus the fact that we're both keen on getting out and exercising, so I think that was helpful as well. That becomes part of life, doesn't it? So
also it was drummed into us by our friends with CF children and by the hospital, and it was drummed into us that she had to keep going, and so we drummed it into her.
Yeah. Thinking about the things that perhaps Sophie should or shouldn't be doing, if we were worried, we sought medical advice. Otherwise, we would encourage her to do anything that we felt was going to be good for her. So, for instance, her horse riding, yes, in actual fact,
it did worry us.
It did worry us
a lot.
So we went to see Professor Bush, who's a wonderful man, at the Brompton, and he said, well, just let her get out there and do it, because it'd be good for her to do it. It'd be great for her exercise regime, but also she's doing something that she really wants to do. So let her be normal. Let her do the things that she drives for, that she desires, and in that way, it's good for your soul, isn't it? So I think probably it's. And the other bit of advice was, keep an eye on her health, and if you think her health is failing, then come and see me. Bring her in, so that we can talk about it and see if it's got anything to do with the fact she wanted to go horse riding. Sophie has taught us never to give up on life, never to give in. She's taught us that anything's possible, within reason, but don't find the negatives in things because you'll regret it. To look over something and say, oh, well, I don't think I can do that, because actually, rather than that, say, now, how can I manage to do
Like,
something I really want to achieve or
On her
get onto
21st birthday coming up too, she decided she was going to jump out of a plane.
She did, yeah. With a parachute, I might add.
And she timed it to the 12 o'clock with the time she was born on the date.
Yeah. So she's also taught us not to have regrets, you know, and if you want to avoid having regrets, you need to strive to do the things that you really want to do in life. Feel that anything is possible. She's very much a person who, if she's going to do something, she says, yeah, come on. She's a can-do person. She's not a can't-do person. And I think that positivity is really, really important.
What do we predict is coming next? Well, that's a very difficult one, isn't it? It's going to be something grand.
It will be, yeah.
Something that will worry me.
She's been talking about doing all sorts of things. I mean, I suppose if she talked to me about doing the Marathon des Sables, I'd be worried, because you've got to run 6 marathons in 6 days, and you've got to carry a load of water and all the other stuff, and medically I'd be kind of concerned about that. But she's also talking about doing stuff in the Sahara anyway. So, you know, one of the things I am confident of is that she will prepare for things properly. I have a very dear friend who now lives in Canada, and he taught me to run marathons, and he taught Sophie how to run properly. And that, you know, that is so important. If you feel that you want to do something, then make sure that you've prepared properly for the whole thing. Think about what could happen and try and take out all the negatives, get rid of them, knock them to one side. And I think if you do that, then when you go on to do whatever challenge it is you need to do in life, you feel confident about achieving it. Whereas if you haven't prepared, there's always that little thing in your mind, you think, oh, have I done this right? Eat properly. How important is that? The right food. You know, don't eat junk food. Eat the stuff that's going to be good for your body, the things that are going to feed what you need to do. So if you're going to go on some sort of endurance thing, then make sure that you've built the muscles and exercise the muscles that you're going to be needing and using. If I was to get worried about what Sophie was going to do next, I'd be even greyer than I am now. She just decides that that's what she wants to do, and that's what she does. Whatever it is that she wants to do, there's a great level of confidence that I hope we both feel that she's going to go into it having given herself the best chance to achieve the end goal. I mean, unwittingly, I'm not saying, aren't we wonderful parents, that's what we did. It's just that she became... I'm missing the point, am I?
We're supposed to be talking about when she learned it was life expectancy.
Oh.
Do you want to start that again, or?
Can you just give us the question again?
It's gone off. It went off somewhere different.
Oh, did I?
When,
Hello.
when did you talk to her about the reality of CF, and was she ever worried?
What's the question again you just said? I just want to finish it off.
She was like being...
Right, it was like being told,
Right. You did a daddy, just went off in your own tangent.
oh, what, say
It's
again?
like bringing up a baby to die, which is a fight with a lot of determination. You come in.
Okay. Ready? You're going to set it?
It's going.
Okay. I can't laugh again, I can't laugh.
Right, okay.
Outtakes. No good having outtakes. Right.
So I just want to finish off this video to say I really hope that you can take something from it and you can take some inspiration from it and are able to move forward positively if you are struggling. If you do have a child with CF or you do know somebody who has a child with CF, support them. It is so important to get across that mindset has a massive contributor to staying on top of everything and staying healthy. But I really do hope that you have got some comfort in the words that my parents have said. Now, I just want to finish here and say I am seriously lucky to have the most amazing, supportive family and mum and dad who literally support me through absolutely everything, even my most crazy ideas and the wildest things and everything like that. So I just want to say thank you to my mum and dad for being so amazing and being so wonderful and always being there and always supporting me and my dreams, even when I do tend to scare the hell out of you for what I want to do and the big challenges and goals that I set myself. I couldn't be without you. You've taught me so much over the years, and if I could take anything from you, it would be to always approach things with love, always be kind, and always try and help people. But always stay true to your values and stay true to who you are, and never ever go to bed with bad feelings towards anybody. So even if you just need to send an apology text or phone somebody to tell them you love them after an argument or a row, then it is so important for not only your own peace of mind, but because you just never know what's around the corner. Both my mum and dad have contributed to the person I am today. So my dad being the lively, bouncy, fitness fanatic that he is, always dragging me out for runs even when I didn't want to, and my mum forever showing me love and support, making me do my medication, and always making sure that I have food to eat, and always making sure that I have full nutritious dinners. Even to this day, I am lucky enough that my parents are still doing that and still asking me whether I've done my medication, whether I've taken my tablets, and even mum is the best at always remembering to put them in her bag. I most definitely couldn't be without my mum and dad, and I'm so grateful for the amount of time I get to spend with them, and I'm very lucky that they are best friends to me. They are more than just parents, they are my best friends, they are my rock, and forever will be my support. So make sure you go and tell your mum and dad, your brother, your sister, your best friend that you love them and that you thank them for all their love and support, because simple words like that can go a long way and stay a lifetime, and they do only take seconds to say. But I can guarantee you one thing, I wouldn't be the person, and I wouldn't be where I am today, the determined, ambitious, driven, crazy woman that I've grown into being without my mum and dad. So, mum and dad, thank you so much, and thank you for everything going forward. Even if I don't show it enough, I am very lucky and I'm very grateful, and I love you lots.